Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays where I go live on YouTube around 4 p.m. Central Time. I was a little bit late today. It's like 4:15 getting started here, but if you'd like to join the conversation, be sure to hit up the YouTube live streams. If you don't want to talk via YouTube, you can reach out to me through the Discord I've created. There is a link for that down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. That is a great place for you guys to check out some of the meals and recipes that I've been enjoying as I work towards my weight loss goal. Today is day 978 of my challenge to lose 300 pounds. So far, through a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, I have been able to lose 260 pounds. That's half my body weight. It's amazing. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you're succeeding with your diet, let us know what you're doing to succeed. If you're struggling, let us know what's causing your struggles. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are doing that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Let's go ahead, switch over to the main screen here. I got something in my teeth. Now I got it. So that's been in my teeth all day. My daughter said something about it earlier. I thought I got it, but apparently I did not. Hello. I hope everybody had a great evening. I don't know why there's question marks by my weight here. Let me update this. I think it was 260 even yesterday. So let me fix this. So yesterday, yeah, I had no, it was 260 point. Yeah. Yeah, the weigh-ins were all messed up yesterday because I weighed in and then the audio was messed up, so I had to do a second weigh-in. But the weight was 260 pounds. It puts me still at, I mean, it's 0.1 pound away from half my starting weight. So I'm gonna say I'm at half my starting weight here, and I'm pretty happy to be at that point. Couple people checking in. Cindy Davison says, hello, everyone. Hello, Cindy. And Tennis and Yoga Girl says, hello, listening while out for a walk. Right now, it is wonderful outside. And if you can get outside and go for a walk, if you're in an area like I am, absolutely get out and do it. Cindy here says that she had a non-scale victory. She says here, as I was losing weight, you purchased a few pairs of comfy yoga pants in a medium. Now they're too big. That's awesome. It's amazing. You went from a size of an 18 to a size small. That is a huge victory, being able to fit into that those clothing that you had, and then have them be too big. I talked about that a little bit last night in my live stream. It's on my shoulder. I talked about that in my live stream last night. There was a hoodie that was the background picture. I don't think I have it in the computer anymore here, but it was me in this camouflaged hoodie from 2014, I guess it would have been. And that was kind of when I was at my lightest that I had ever been at that point. And so that was kind of a goal shirt for me. And now this next winter, I think it's probably going to be too big for me to wear, which is awesome. So that is an amazing non-scale victory. And thank you for sharing that with us. So yes, yesterday I did a super late night live stream from my house. I hope you guys had a chance to check out some of it. It was very long. My kids ended up popping on the stream. So if you want to meet my two older kids and listen to them talk about some things about eating a vegan diet and eating more plants and vegetables. Go and check out yesterday's live stream. I think it worked out pretty well doing it from the house. I ended up having to do it extremely late at night. That was just kind of, life is busy. And that was the topic yesterday too, was, life gets in the way, and you have to keep pushing it back. And for something like this stream, the accountability platform here, it would be easy for me to have just not streamed. I could have just not streamed yesterday and came back today, and it wouldn't have been a problem. But I made room for it, I guess, yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and go over food. I don't know if I should go over food since yesterday or if I should go over since, what was it? I went live on Monday, so you would have had Monday's stuff. I think I went live Monday. Yeah. So I guess I can go through the food that we had since Monday. It was a lot of food because I eat a lot of food, but, let's see what we can do here. I got to reconnect it. And so Monday night, we ended up where we are at. They do a large firework display on July 3rd in a town that's real close to where I work, or, it's right next to my office, essentially, where they shoot the fireworks off on the 3rd. There's also places that do fireworks on the 4th, but we had some people over to the building on the 3rd so we could watch the fireworks. And for dinner, Carrie had brought me this mango salsa with brown rice and beans. It's really a great meal. I'm not a huge fan of cold food. I do like to have my food warm, and this is a cold dish. So it's always going to I'm going to have that initial aversion to it. And I've talked about that with like the salads. I always have had this, like, oh, we're having salad for dinner. Like the idea of having a salad for dinner prior to starting this diet was absurd to me. And so it's taken time for me to be, to neuro adapt, to get used to the idea of having salads for dinner or having cold mango salsa with rice and black beans for dinner. So that was my dinner on Monday evening. We watched some fireworks here, a couple photos of my kids and their friend, just watching fireworks. And then let's see, what's this next photo of? Some of my plumbing adventures. If you caught yesterday's live stream, I spent my 4th of July holiday working on my water heater. And so I ended up having to just replace the entire water heater, which meant I had to disconnect it, and the plumbing that they had done previously, it was pretty hard plumbed in, and there was no way to easily disconnect the water heater. So I ended up having to do some soldering of the copper lines that I did not do a great job of, but I got it done. I think it was the 35th time I went to the hardware store. It was the final time that I went to the hardware store, and I was picking up a few final parts that I needed. And as I was walking back to the area, there was an employee that saw I had some pieces in my hand. I don't think it was this piece, but it was something like that, and asked me if I needed help. And I just said, oh, I'm looking for a couple fittings. And he kind of made a comment about how I was soldering, because it's not what they do in plumbing anymore. Soldering is an older, I guess, technique, but my house is an older house, so everything is already soldered. So I figured that I would just solder the new pipes in. But anyways, that is what that's a photo of. Then on Tuesday was Independence Day. Let me think time wise. Oh, that's right, because we did fireworks on the 3rd. So Tuesday, I didn't eat till super late, and I guess I didn't take any photos of the food that I had prior to that. But we had this, I don't think this is the red lentil chili. This is something, hey, a couple more people checking in. Pretty Girl's mom says hello. Carrie says hello. Carrie, what was the name of the red lentil thing that we've had the last few nights? I can't remember, but we had it with, this is a Hannah yam. And so I took the skin off the Hannah yam. I put the red lentil pumpkin chili. That's the difference. It has pumpkin in it. Our normal red lentil chili does not have the pumpkin in it. Carrie says that this is on the Pinterest board if you want to get the recipe. But we had it on a Hannah yam, and then I actually had some on a yellow sweet potato or an orange sweet potato. I don't know what you call it. I had it both ways. I really liked it both ways. I think I kind of liked it more with the Hannah yam, and Carrie was the other way. She liked it more with the yellow sweet potato. And then yesterday for breakfast was our standard oatmeal, had broccoli and potatoes for my lunch. And then last night I was able to show you guys my dinner, but we had some sort of chickpea curry with brown rice for dinner last night. And then also I had some of the last of the red lentil pumpkin chili that we had. And then today I did not take a photo of my oatmeal this morning. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot to take my oatmeal, but I took a photo of the broccoli. And then I am realizing as I go through my food thing here, I have not eaten lunch. My potatoes are sitting inside of the Instapot still. Carrie's probably mad at me because there was one bag of broccoli left at the office, and she just left that bag of broccoli for me to eat, and then I have not eaten it. So I'll have to eat it before I go home. I guess I'll just have to stay here extra long today and eat my potatoes and broccoli before I go home. But that's, again, I've talked about this a lot. I don't find myself thinking about food or worrying about food. I have a lot going on with work. This is like the busy month for me at work. And so I was at the DMV today. I had to go make another run for some errands this afternoon, and just kind of been on the phone with 4 or 5 different people trying to get different plans get together. And Carrie says she thought she had a stash of broccoli at the office this morning, so she didn't bring any in with her. So I think somebody must have raided our broccoli stash. You think we did have like a dozen bags here and somebody came in and stole all our broccoli? Those bandits. I'll have to watch the cameras and see if anybody was sneaking out with broccoli under their armpits. But eating this way and stress, I talk about that a lot, right? I don't stress about food. So when I'm stressing about things, food isn't something where it's going to fix any problems. Eating isn't going to fix any of my problems because I'm not hungry. And it's becoming more apparent, I guess, this summer or right now than ever before. And it's something that I have a friend that I've known for years that we meet up and we do this event that's very stressful together. And a couple years ago, he ended up having an issue because he wasn't eating. He was stressed out and he wasn't eating. And to me at the time, I was so confused as to, how somebody could be stressed and not eat. And because that for me, it's, if I'm stressed, I would go right to food. So for somebody to be like, well, the stress of everything was too much and they just weren't eating, and they just hadn't thought to eat, that idea just blew my mind. But right now, I guess I'm starting to get it a little bit more. There's different people that, they react different to stress. And I'm just not somebody who normally, avoids food when I'm stressed. I usually go towards food when I'm stressed. And, and it's not that I've avoided food this past couple weeks. It's just, I haven't gravitated towards it. And Pretty Girl's mom says, or tucked into their pockets. Now, I think that if they would have stolen it, they would have tucked it under their armpits. The best way to hide it. Yeah, so it's just weird, like dealing with that water heater. I was, on the 4th of July, from the time Home Depot opened up, I think I might have had to run out there first thing in the morning until, I got that project done at like 7 o'clock at night. I didn't even think about eating. I probably ate oatmeal in the morning, just didn't take a photo. But then, the, but yeah, I just didn't even think about eating. So, what was I going to talk about? How I lost over 260 pounds eating 3 meals a day. Guys, if you haven't heard about volume eating or calorie density yet, look it up, watch the videos, check out the books. It is a life changer. For my whole life, my whole adult life, I thought that there was something wrong with me because I was never full. I would eat these massive 1,000-calorie, 5,000-calorie meals, whatever, just these obnoxious meals. And an hour later, I would still be hungry. I would still be able to eat more food. And many times I would, it had gotten to the point where, and it was that way as long as I could remember. There was, when I was in college, I can remember I was in my dorm and one of my roommate's friends had come by in the morning and had seen that I was eating Hot Pockets for breakfast and kind of made a comment about, you're having Hot Pocket for breakfast. And I was like, yeah, that's what I got, and it didn't matter to me. Hot Pockets were Hot Pocket. That was good food right there. And I had been in the dorm room all day, and I probably even went and got lunch up at the place. But then at the end of the day, my friend had come back and his friend had come back with him, and I was eating Hot Pockets again. And they kind of made a comment about it. And then they saw that the box for the Hot Pockets was in the garbage. And they had asked me, because it was like a Sam's Club box of Hot Pockets that had like 12 Hot Pockets in it. And they were like, did you eat all of those Hot Pockets today? And I was like, yeah, I ate them all today, and I didn't, like, he was blown away that I ate that much food. And for me, it was like, that was just, I just eat a lot of food, and 12 Hot Pockets in a day was just what I ate that day because I was hungry. If I'm hungry, then obviously I need to eat more food. So I just kept eating more food, and so I always knew that I always needed more food than other people, or at least I always wanted more food I always thought it was that I wanted more food. I never thought about it being a need or a natural part of me that I would eat a larger volume of food than other people. But, it's things like that, or uh, and it got to a point where I knew that was my problem. And I went and uh, tried taking these pills that I bought off a late night infomercial that were the sole design of the pill was to just fill up your stomach. They're these no calorie pills that you take them and the capsule dissolves, and then the the cotton ball inside of the capsule expands, and then it fills up your stomach. And I think I did that one time, and I felt like I was eating plastic, because I probably was. But I thought that was going to be my solution. If I could just figure out how to fill my stomach, I would, with no calories, I would lose weight. And then it was that way, and that kind of same mentality. Sorry. I'll have to get back to him in a minute. So, like that kind of mentality of, my stomach's never full, I can always eat more food. That, I think, kind of helped push my mind towards the road of doing some sort of stomach surgery. Like, that was on my mind before starting this challenge. This challenge was kind of my last ditch effort before I went and saw a doctor and had him physically fix my broken stomach that is too big. Because that's what I thought the problem was, is that my stomach was too big, and then I was eating so much and I was stretching it to make it even bigger. And so I was eating even more food. And while some of that is true, the biggest problem that I was putting in, for the biggest issue I had, or the biggest thing that was causing me to gain weight, was not the amount of food that I was eating. It was the food that I was eating. It had nothing to do with the quantity. It had to deal with the content. And by changing the content of my diet and no longer eating foods that are 1,500, 2,000 calories per pound, like when you go to McDonald's and you buy a cheeseburger and fries, that food does not weigh very much. And that's what your body measures. Your body, or at least my body, is a volume measuring tool, and it loves large volumes. And so I always was avoiding that natural part of myself. I always thought that I was broken, that I needed to fix, that I craved too much food. I could never be satisfied with the amount of food I was eating. And when I started learning about eating a whole food plant-based diet and about eliminating the processed foods from my diet, then I started to realize that I can start to change that equation in my body where I'm overeating calories every day. If you feel like you normally eat pounds and pounds of food every day, it's because your body wants to eat that many pounds of food. If that food is 1,500 calories per pound, if you eat 2 pounds of food, you've eaten 3,000 calories in 2 pounds of food. If you instead eat whole natural foods like fruits and vegetables and nuts, and not so much, but rice and beans and things like that, you're gonna be more like a 200 or 300 calorie per pound, or even 600 to 800 calorie per pound for some foods. But overall, you want to be at like 500 calories per pound. So if you eat 2 pounds of food at 500 calories, then you've eaten 1,000 calories. The food I used to eat was easily 3 or 4 times the content per pound that it should have been. That if we lived in nature, the food that we eat would be more likely to have 500 calories per pound and not be at 15 to 1600 calories per pound. And by just knowing that, by changing the food, by no longer allowing myself to fill up on high calorie, low volume food, I'm winning this battle I have against obesity. And I don't skip meals. I eat breakfast, I eat lunch, I eat dinner, I eat large servings of those meals. I don't avoid food. And I'm able to do that because the food I eat is much lower in calorie density. If you look at the meals I showed at the beginning of this, it's very low calorie dense foods. And some of it is, a lot of it's like broccoli. I eat 12 ounces of broccoli with breakfast, 12 ounces of broccoli with lunch. That brings my calorie density average down dramatically throughout the day. And by eating the right content of food, by eating a healthy content of food, I'm going to eventually be a healthy weight. Eating, superfoods that are just crazy packed with calories and oils and just processed ingredients, like I said, the food I used to eat was 3 times the calorie content than food would have been in nature. So I shouldn't be surprised that I weighed 3 times as much as I should have weighed if I was in nature. And it's really something you just have to understand, that you're not broken. I was not broken. It was the food system around me that was broken. It was the things I was putting on my plate that were broken. Those weren't real foods. Those were these toxic concoctions made up by scientists in labs to get me hooked on their food, to come back and buy their product again instead of buying their competitor's product. It's something where when it comes to the food we eat, we really don't pay attention to the company that made the potatoes or made the oranges or the onions or the mushrooms. It's just whatever's at the store. And it's just a different market, like buying produce, you're marketed to differently. And there's very little marketing that is directed at people that only buy produce like us. And it's amazing to be free of that system. The story I had about Hot Pockets, like that is horrible. If you look up the ingredients list on a Hot Pocket, there's more than 50 ingredients. There's probably close to 100 ingredients in a Hot Pocket. And if you were to go to somebody and say, hey, I need you to make a Hot Pocket from scratch, they wouldn't be able to make, what comes out in the box there. But if you said, hey, I need you to make a calzone, like, I don't know, what do you even call a Hot Pocket? Like a croissant calzone. You would probably use 5 ingredients. For a ham and cheese one, you'd have the ham and the cheese, you'd have the flour, the salt, the water. Like there's less than 10 ingredients that you would need to make a homemade Hot Pocket. But the ones you buy from the store have 70 to 100 ingredients, because they need to keep that calorie number down, because they know that you're going to be comparing the calories on this to the calories on something else. So anytime they can use an artificial food that has no calories instead of using the actual food, they will. And so it's, losing this weight has been because I've been eating maybe not exactly the same volume of food. Who knows? I didn't weigh my food before. I don't weigh my food now. but I eat substantially more food now than I've ever eaten on a diet in the past. And I'm able to do that because I focus on calorie density, and I make sure that my diet overall has a calorie density, or I try to make sure that my diet has a calorie density of under 600 calories per pound. To help make that, to assure that's going to happen, I eat things like broccoli so that it brings down the average dramatically. Um, and the other is the volume eating, is the not being scared to eat food. Don't undereat food, because by under eating, you're just going to produce cravings, and your mind, it makes you think of wonderful things. Your mind has an amazing imagination, and when you're hungry, it starts imagining the highest dopamine response foods it could possibly think of to get you to go eat. So yes, that is really the two big things on how I lost 260 pounds: calorie density, volume eating. Don't undereat. It's like undersleeping, and it'll work for a little while. You may even think you're doing amazing. And there's a lot of people that sleep for 3 hours for a couple nights and they think that they got it all figured out. But give it 10 nights, give it 20 nights, give it 50 nights of sleeping for 3 hours. Eventually, you're going to go delirious, you're going to go crazy, and you're just going to fall asleep without paying, while you're walking. And the same thing happens with food, is that if you undereat and you're eating a third of the volume that your body craves, eventually your body's going to go crazy, and you're going to give in to some craving that you don't want to give into. And then you're going to feel like a failure, and you got to get back up off the ground, figure it out. Let's see, Pretty Girl's mom says those people stealing the broccoli, they'd be pretty cool in the heat with it under their armpits. Yes. And then Stephanie here says, hello, Jonathan and family. Hello, Stephanie. I hope you had a great week. Just talking a little bit about volume eating, calorie density. I think that it's wild. Just being free of the food system that I used to be part of. And also, like, I have so much less of that fear of missing out. And I might have had it when I first started, and that might be one of the things that, it takes the 1,000 days to get over that fear of missing out. But I think that fear of missing out kept me fat for so long. Every time I was about ready to start a diet, I would drive by Burger King and they would say, try our new breakfast burrito. And I'd be like, ooh, you know what? Maybe I'll try that new breakfast burrito. I'd hate to start my diet today and then never have that breakfast burrito that they put double the bacon on. And it would kill the diet, and yeah, I've just had to learn to get over it, I guess. And that's probably the hardest thing, is that why do other people get to do that when I can't? And what maybe I have to think of is that other people get to do that because they don't care if they live as long as I care about, because that's really what it comes down to, is that it's that myth of moderation. It's the idea that there's no amount of a poison that is healthy to ingest. There's no amount of like, because even if it doesn't kill you in a small dose, if you have that small dose day after day after day, and week after week, and month after month, and year after year, and decade after decade, that little bit of a trace poison can add up. And maybe you didn't have enough at first, but eventually it'll build up. Or, I guess at this point, I'm just working towards getting to a point where I don't have any toxins in my body. I don't have any poisons. in my body. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job at that at this point. The other thing that I was going to talk about was I was walking out to my car today and I got upset. Got upset with myself, and I got upset with all the skinny people that are running around this world, and they're able to do things without any effort. And I guess what I mean by that was I was walking from my office to my truck, and I couldn't believe how effortless it felt. And it's not anything that's new, I guess, but today I've been feeling strong. I've been feeling thin. And it's a great feeling to have. And I don't know what it stems from. I haven't done any physical workouts since I did the kayaking a couple weeks ago. Maybe my muscles have finally recovered from the growth or whatever, but I just feel like, I feel strong, but I also feel thin, and I feel like I'm the skin's getting looser, and like in my back, like it's weird, like I can pull skin away from my back in some spots, which is really weird, because this is all been tight for years and years, and now I'm really getting to the point where I'm getting to the point where my loss of fat loss is getting to be more than what the skin returning is doing. And, I'm probably going to start seeing more loose skin. But anyways, what I was saying, I was upset with the skinny people about how easy it is to just walk around and to just go out to my truck and come back into the office. And if I wanted to do it with a little bit of pep in my step, or even maybe a little bit of a jog, I could do it. And it doesn't take any energy out of me. Like it was just a weird kind of thought I had, that I was just, like I said, I was looking down at myself, and it was the fact that I can see my quads, like I can see my abdomen, like I can see past my abdomen. It's not just my stomach sticking out, but just walking isn't difficult. And at 520 pounds, that was not my reality. 520 pounds, if I had to go out to my truck to get something, maybe I'd wait till I had to go out and get two things, or maybe I'd see if somebody else could run out there for me. Or I would park my truck closer to the building so that I didn't have to walk so far when I did have to walk out to my truck. Because it would just take it out of me. It would be so much effort. And I'm sure that, and I always felt like I was active, and I'd have customers come to my office, and I would go and I would help them, and we'd have to go out to the parking lot and things like that. And, I'm sure that they were seeing how difficult it was for me, and when I think back, maybe there was, maybe people were more patient with me because I was so overweight, and they knew that it was harder for me to do these things. But it's so much easier to do the things that were difficult before. And it's just crazy. Who would have thought having 260 less pounds on my body would make it easier to do things? But yeah, I just couldn't imagine going back to that point again, or having that weight on me again. But yeah, just felt amazing. It just felt, just walking around isn't difficult. And that's something that really was there's so many things that I try to think back prior to November of 2020, prior to me starting this channel. What caused me to do this? What was the thing that pushed me to finally say, I'm going to do it now? And, you know, obviously my family is a huge driving factor, but I hadn't let that kind of do anything. You know, I didn't let that push me before, I guess. And I didn't go to a doctor and have him tell me that I was diabetic or that I was on the verge of having any type of terminal illness, which I know a lot of people do. And there's a couple things that I feel like helped push me in the right direction. And one of those things was this watch I got, this Garmin Instinct. It's just a simple watch that has the time on it, the date on it. I think you can change some of the different settings. Mine tells me when the sun's going to set and the sun's going to rise. But when I bought the watch, I just bought it because I enjoy having a watch. I had worn watches in the past, and I thought it'd be cool to have a smartwatch. I didn't want to mess with getting an Apple Watch. One of the things that I was annoyed with, because I had an Apple watch in the past, one of the earlier versions of it, and I just had to charge it all of the time. And I did not like that every day I had to get my phone on the charger and I had to get my watch on the charger. And so this seemed like a better alternative, that the watch lasts longer if you're not using it for all of the tracking and the GPS and things like that. So we bought it on an Amazon Prime deal. But the reason why I think this watch helped me to lose weight or to start this or pushed me in the right direction was because on the watch, it shows my heart rate. Let me see. But on the top there, it says my heart rate's at 71 right now. And prior to having this watch, I never really thought about my heart rate, never really gave it much of a consideration at all. And then I get this watch and I'm just living my life, but I walk up the steps of my house to go from the basement to the upstairs. And I go up and I get to the kitchen table and I sit down and I'm breathing heavy and I look down at my watch and it says 123. And I think, wow, that's pretty high. And especially because I have a really low resting heart rate. Like when I go to sleep and I have this watch on, it drops really low, like the 60s and the 50s. Like even when I was at my heaviest, it would drop pretty low. But I would have just this super low resting heart rate. And then I would wake up and immediately it would jump up 30 or 40 points just from being awake. And then doing a simple task like walking up a flight of steps would cause it to spike even more. And that made me realize that I was working my heart so hard, just living life. And really was something that combined with the extreme swelling that I had in my legs, and going on to, internetmd.com or whatever you go to, WebMD, and typing in those symptoms, there's some pretty serious things that come up. And so that kind of helped push me to do this, to start the water fast, to say that I need to make a change and I need it to be a permanent change and not just a temporary change like all the diets I've done in the past were. So, yeah, I would say having the monitor to push me in the right direction. I did have real bad sleep apnea, but I lived with that for 15 years. And I didn't do myself any favors with my sleep apnea by having a full beard, and having to try to get the mask connection with that. But yeah, and another thing I kind of point to is that at the time, and my hair is actually back more now to the way it was prior, but I started um, trying to pay attention to my looks a little bit more. I cut my hair a different way than I'd ever cut it before. And I think that also kind of put me in front of a mirror. That is something that I avoided for a long time, is because I didn't shave, so I didn't need to look in a mirror for shaving. And so then I just wouldn't spend a lot of time caring about my appearance. And when I changed my hair, I let it grow out more, so I wasn't able to um, just let it go, and I had to kind of brush it more or deal with it more. And that kind of helped me go down this path too. Just the idea of caring about my appearance a little bit more, and things I could do to improve my appearance. But yeah, that's about all I have today. If anybody's got any questions, throw them down in the comment section down below. It is Thursday, which means I don't know if I'm going to go live on Friday. It was a holiday this week, so I didn't go live on Tuesday. So maybe I'll go live tomorrow. Maybe we'll do a stream from the house again or something. Let me know if you guys like the stream from the house, if everything on that came through okay. And it's something that I'm going to try to do occasionally. It's a little bit more difficult to set up, and I end up having to use my phone, my camera, and another tablet so I can read chat. It's not as, I guess I do use a microphone and a camera and a computer here, but at least it's all set up. And if I lose internet connection, I don't know what happens when I do those live streams about getting it back. Yeah, anyways. Carrie says, I have a couple other kids that would like to be featured in a future video. I'm sure they would. That would be probably not as long a video as last night's video was. But yeah, things are going amazing. That was the other thing I guess I thought about was you can only imagine how good it's going to feel to lose the weight. When I was 520 pounds, I had thoughts of what it would be like to be thin or to be thinner. And in reality, it was all just imagination. I was only imagining how good that I was going to feel when I got to a healthier weight or got to my goal weight. The reality is that it is way better to actually be living at a lighter weight than it is to be imagining the lighter weight. The ease of walking around, the ease of life. I haven't been this light since I was like 15 years old, 16 years old. So like I have very few memories of really being this light and being an adult or being, full size at this weight, and I dropped something the other day and had to pick it up off the ground. I dropped the bag of dog treats, and I had to stay bent over for, I don't know, 10, 20 seconds to pick up all the dog treats because there was like 15 or 20 of them that had spilled onto the ground. And the entire time I'm bent over, I'm just thinking about how I never would have been able to do what I was doing in the position I was doing it, to be on both my feet, just straight bent over, just picking stuff off the ground. It never would have happened. I would have had to have dropped to my knee to pick up those dog treats. And if I would have done it standing and bent over, I would have been holding my breath the entire time because my stomach would have been pushed up into my lungs. And that's the only way I would have been able to reach the food is by compressing my body and not breathing. And if you've ever been overweight and tried to tie your shoes, you know what I'm talking about. I think, like that the tying your shoes, you're holding your breath the entire time because it's such an exertion to get to that point. And the other day it was effortless. It's like nothing. And as I lose the next 40 pounds, it's going to get even easier. It's going to get even better for me as I lose the additional weight. And yeah, I'm loving it. Eat a whole food, plant-based diet. Remove the salt, oil, and sugar. Eliminate all of the processed foods. Try to eat as minimally processed diet as you can. And if you're gonna eat processed foods, try to be the one that processes them. There's obviously things that are just easier to let other people process, like our West soy milk. But you can absolutely make it yourself. And we have done it ourselves. The canned beans, you could do them yourselves as well. And the processing I'm talking about seems so minimal. It's just like the canning, you're calling canning a process. Well, it is, a lot of times when people are talking about processing of foods, it's the Hot Pockets, it's the crazy foods, but there's processing in many foods. And it's trying to get as minimally processed as possible. Like that's why we eat oat groats and steel cut oats instead of rolled oats. Like that process makes a difference, in my opinion, to how well you absorb the food. And there's nothing different about an oat groat than a rolled oat, other than they already smashed it so your body can absorb more calories from it. You don't have to chew it as much. But I also love the texture of it. I think it's way better texture than rolled oats. But anyways, I am going to pop off of here. I am not going to make any promises about tomorrow. So you may see me tomorrow. You may not see me tomorrow. Monday, I think I'm live Monday. Next week will probably be the last week that I will have a couple days in July. And then after the 15th, I will be gone until the beginning of August. So if you need any questions or any comments, get them in now because I'm going to be gone for a couple weeks. And so Stephanie here says that Chef AJ was talking about the same thing on her 20-year off sugar premiere. I'll have to check that out. But it says sugar premiere equals processed foods. I'm not exactly sure about the end of it there, but yes, I imagine she was just talking about eliminating processed foods. And that's something that all diets have in common. Every diet that succeeds, every diet that has any traction, I bet that a big foundation of that diet is the reduction or complete removal of processed foods. And that is why people see so much success early on when they start any diet, because they are most likely eating less processed foods while they're eating that diet. And the problem, though, comes in that all of those diets, they eliminate the processed foods from your diet, but they don't substitute anything back for that volume. You used to eat a bag of potato chips and a steak every night, and now you're just eating the steak. Well, your body is going to miss that volume from the potato chips. And so it builds up over time and the diet fails. And so the That's the difference with this diet, is this is the sustainability, the fact that I'm eating a large volume of food and I can eat that large volume of food and still lose weight, and or at least maintain the weight that I've already lost, is amazing. All right, so Stephanie here says it's about understanding canned beans isn't processed. It's more about the easy foods, i.e. Hot Pockets and frozen meals. Okay, she was talking about the processed foods and understanding that right, that it's okay to have a canned bean. You know, it's okay to have corn off of the cob. Like if you buy a can of corn, somebody had to process that corn. It was on a cob at one time. That is far different than the processing that the fruit roll-up company does to make their snacks, or what Oreo does to make their snacks, or the Hungry Man meals. So, yes. Stephanie says it's awesome. We both talked about it. I swear I didn't watch her video today. I'm a big fan of Chef AJ, but I did listen to Chef AJ a little bit today because she is the narrator on the Pleasure Trap book that I've been listening to. But Carrie says, "Oi, fruit roll-ups." Yeah. Yeah. I can't imagine. I don't even know what they're like. Thinking about it now, like what is fruit roll-up made out of? It's got to be some sort of gelatin. Anyways, you know, and there was a time where I wished I could figure out, how to eat those foods and still lose weight. It's just not possible. You can't. It's possible. Obviously, somebody's probably done it, but I would say it's probably really hard to sustain, and it was probably very difficult to out exercise a poor diet. Has got to be extremely difficult. Oh, okay. Carrie says that we had gotten a 72 pack fruit roll-ups from my parents. My daughter must have gone to a whole, like a Sam's Club or a Costco with my parents. I got a 72 pack of fruit roll-ups. We do have a dehydrate function on our air fryer. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Oh, you can make fruit roll-ups on your own if you have an air fryer. Yes, we'll have to maybe try that. I imagine there's a lot more fruit in a homemade fruit roll-up than there is in a store-bought fruit roll-up. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. I've been dragging this on for a while now. Thank you guys so much for all of the support. It is a huge reason why I've been able to lose 260 pounds, be able to keep this weight off. Yeah, Carrie says we'll have to give that a try. Thank you guys so much. If you have not subscribed to this channel and you're still 58 minutes in, you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button down below. If you've not clicked on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos, make sure you hit that bell icon so you get alerted. If you have not hit the like button on this video, hit that thumbs up. It helps send this out to the YouTube universe. I'm getting close to 2,000 subscribers. I'm like over 1,900. So I'd love to see that subscriber count get up over 2,000. Share the video around. Let people know that there is a healthy way to lose weight and you don't have to starve yourself to do it. And if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health or your overall well-being. And there's nobody that reaches their goals, looks back, and wishes they would have waited. So get started right now, guys. Thank you all. I will talk to you later, and you guys have a wonderful evening.